Packing. This beautiful lesson is written by Jerome K. Jerome. Dear students, he was born on 2nd of May 1859 and his place of birth is Caldmore, Walsall, England. Dear students, as you know, he was well known for comic travelogue, A Three Men in a Boat. The present story which we are going to discuss is also the part of this beautiful novel Three Men in a Boat. And as you know, he was a comic writer and whatever he has written is very humorous. He was died on 14th June 1927. Now students, let us discuss this beautiful story. But before discussing these beautiful lessons, the writer asks a few questions to us. Have you ever gone to a trip? Or you have planned for a trip? What kind of things you needed when you planned for a trip? When this comes to your mind, your thinking definitely goes towards packing. Of course, yes, it is packing which is the most important thing while you plan for a trip. So in this story, we are going to discuss about packing. But the writer asks a few things to us that packing is very important for any kind of trip. If you are a good packer, so you will definitely enjoy the trip. Otherwise, you will miss many things. The second questions which the writer raised to us is, have you ever helped anybody in packing? Or you do the task of packing himself or herself? He further asks, what kind of packer you are? What you think packing is an easy task or it is a difficult one? The next questions which he asked to us, have you ever forgotten to pack for the trip? Or you never miss things which you want to pack? He gives his own example in this story that he thinks he's a good packer, but still he missed many things while packing. The writer says that he thinks packing is the most difficult part he ever has. But before some time, his notion was not like that. He consider himself a good packer. But when he wants to pack things, he missed many things. And in this story, we will see how he was think it difficult to plan things systematically. Now, students, the writer asked to us, how did it make you feel when you forget to pack an important thing? Suppose you want to go on a trip and you miss important things which you required at that time. What you feel? Definitely you burst into laughing, or you think that the thing is not important for you. You definitely laugh at that time. But are you became angry with yourself when you forget to pack an important things which you are badly needed at that time? So this kind of feeling definitely comes to into your mind. You definitely laugh at yourself, or you became very angry with yourself that you forget to pack the important things. Now students, let us begin this beautiful story packing with an introduction. The narrator of the story, Jerome, was proud of his packing skills. He was supposed to go on a trip with his friends George and Harris. He told them to leave the whole matter of packing to himself, to which they readily agreed. So dear students, you know the narrator? Narrator means a person who writes the story, but he or she himself involved in the story. In the same way, in this story, Jerome was the writer of the story and he also involved in the story. He asked his friends that they have made a plan for a trip and now he will do all the packing, and both his friends agreed to that. Now students, as far as the character of the story is concerned, so there are three main characters. In fact, we can say there are four main characters in the story. The first one is the writer himself. The second one is George. third one is Harry's, and they also have a pet dog called Montmorency. The whole story revolved around these four characters. Let's find out that how they pack the things and what kind of difficulty they face while packing. So let's see this and how Montmorency, spoils their plan. So let's find out. Now, students, let us discuss this beautiful story in the form of plots. The first plot which we will discuss, the narrator boasts of being the master packer. Under this plot we will discuss that the narrator boasts himself and he thinks proud of himself that he knows packing better than anybody else in this story. And in the second plot, that is haphazard packing by the narrator, even he forgets to pack the things which he consider himself as a that he was a master packer, but even he is not able to pack the things in an orderly manner, in a systematically way, and he forgets things. In the third part, we will discuss that George and Harry's did the rest of packing and what kind of difficulty they face while packing. And in the fourth plot, Montmorency joins the packing. That is also going to be a very interesting and humorous situation. And the last one we will discuss that how finally they packed the things in the end. So we will discuss it under the last plot. So let us discuss. Now, students, let us discuss the first plot of the story. That is the narrator, Jerome boasts of being the master packer, and under this we will discuss that how narrator considered himself that he was a good packer. The narrator was going on a trip with his friends George and Harris. He himself decided to pack. The two accepted his offer and relaxed while he packed the bag. Jerome's real intention was to supervise his friends in packing. Actually, students, this beautiful story is an extract from Jerome's K. Jerome novel, The Three Men in a Boat. The narrator of the story and his two friends, George and Harris, decided to go on a holiday, and the question of packing things for the journey arose. The author thought that he was an expert in packing, and this expertness becomes a difficulty for him later on. Their friend decided to leave packing to him because they think that writer is expert in packing, and when he thought he had packed things, certain things remained out. He opened the bag again, and in the same way he had to pack and unpack time and again. Actually, he wants to show his expertness, but later this expertness become problem for him. He packed things haphazardly. Let us see this picture, and here we will able to see that narrator was standing in between George and Harris, and he was packing the things, and things was lying over there in the in the picture, and everything is scattered on the ground, and Montmorency was also there in this pictures. And Jerome wanted to teach his friends that how to pack, but he was not able to do that. Actually, he himself was not able to pack things in an orderly and systematically way. He again opened things and again put in the bag, again opened the bag and again put in things in that, and this took a lot of time. And what he wanted to teach his friends, he was not able to do that himself. Now, students, what happened? However, they misinterpreted the narrator, and as a result he had to do the packing. In the beginning of the story, the narrator told them he was an expert in packing, and this was took in otherwise by his friends, and they misinterpreted the narrator, and as a result he had to do all the packing himself. Now, students, now the narrator has started packing the things, but he haphazardly packed things. The things which are around him, he wanted to pack in the bag, but the thing is that he was not able to properly place everything in an orderly manner. Even he considered himself a good packer, he was not able to pack things. He forget many things. When he packed the bag, he again opened it and again packed the bag, and this was the whole episode was going on. Now, students, he had packed the bag, but to put shoes inside the bag. So he had to open the bag once again so that he can put the shoes inside it. But for this, he had to reopen and scattered everything on the ground. Now, student, the second thing which he missed to put in the bag was his toothbrush. Earlier, when he had opened the bag, he had not seen that he whether he had put his toothbrush in the bag or not. So he had to open the bag again and empty its content. Earlier he had opened the bag to his shoes, but actually he did not see at that time whether the toothbrush was there or not. But the when he again packed the bag, to a thought came into his mind that he had not whether he had put his toothbrush or not. He again opened that bag. Now students, in search of toothbrush, he put the content back in bag by shaking them one by one and found the toothbrush inside the shoe boot. What happened when he opened the bag again to find out his toothbrush? So he was not able to find the toothbrush anywhere. He just put the content back in the bag by shaking one by one, so that he was able to find his toothbrush. But to surprise to him, he found the toothbrush lying inside the shoe boot, and it was just a thing which he think that he was a good packer and he pack everything in a orderly and systematically way. Still he forgets to put the things in systematic way. Now students, these are the actual word spoken by Jerome. When I had finished, George asked if the soap was in. I said I didn't care a hang whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't, and I slammed the bag shut and strapped it and found that I had packed my tobacco pouch in it and had to reopen. Actually students, when he has packed the bag, he again unpacked it and again packed it, and in this process he wasted much of his time. And when finally he had finished packing the bag, so George asked him whether the soap was in. No, the narrator was fully tired, so he refused that I didn't care about the soap, whether it was in or whether it was not inside it. Problem to make the things in an orderly and systematic way. Now, students, it's the turn of George and Harris to pack the things. George and Harris did the rest of the packing. Before packing the things, George asked the narrator whether he had packed the soap or not. When he asked this thing to the narrator was extremely angry by hearing this, as he had already opened the bag several times. But at that time, neither the George, neither the Harris told him about the soap. He had opened the bag so many times before that, but not only to irritate and to realize, narrator that he was not a good packer. He again asked the narrator whether he packed the soap or not. So this was the thing which shows that the narrator was not a good. Now, student, as far as the rest part of the packing is concerned, it was done by George and Harris. George and Harris took the task of completing the rest of packing, whether it be eatables or whatever it may be. So they decided to pack it, and they also wanted to show the narrator that they were better, packer than the narrator. So they decided to complete this task as soon as possible, and even they wanted to pack things in orderly and systematic way more than the narrator. And for this, they just started packing in a also in a haphazardly way, and the situation was not as good as the narrator. The situation becomes more worse than the narrator. George and Harris committed a lot of mistake while packing. They broke cups, put things behind them, and couldn't find them when they needed them. The situation of George and Harry's, was worse than the situation of the narrator. Even they are not able to find out the things which they had placed behind them and couldn't find them, and even they broke up cups and the things which must be kept in a safe place. They put them under light things, put to be under the heavy things, and they broke all the things, and the situation become very very worse than the narrator. No students, George and Harry's, were not a good packer. Rather, I would say a worst packer than the narrator. They packed heavy things on the top of light things and stepped on the things. You know, they are not even able to thought this thing that they are doing something worse than ever. They packed heavy things on the top, and light things they put under the bag, and this was the thing which was created problem for them. They broke cups, they broke everything which was there in the bag. They even spoiled the eatable, whatever it may be there inside it, and all this showed that they are not a good packers. They wanted to show the narrator that they are a good packer, but we can say they are the worst packer than the narrator. Now, students, to add fuel to the fire came Montmorency. Montmorency was narrator's pet dog, and he came and sat down on the things, put his leg into a jam pot, and scattered the teaspoons. Montmorency was such a personality in this story that he came to the scene and he spoiled everything which was scattered on the ground. Even he put his legs into a jam pot and scattered the teaspoon. And he just adding, fuel to the fire which was created by George and Harris. George and Harris thought that they were a good planner. They are planning things accordingly and putting everything in a systematic way and order. But even they scattered everything. They couldn't find the things which were placed behind them. Dear students, Montmorency was not even helping George and Harris in making the things in an orderly way, but even he was adding more problems to George and Harris. He would go into the hamper and attacked on the three lemons, thinking them to be rats. He was shooed away by Harris. Now he's adding more problem. He was just running here and there and scattering everything, putting their legs into the things which was scattered on the ground. And even he would go to the hamper and attacked on the three lemons, thinking that it may be a rats. And then Harris came and shooed him away in order to save the things in a proper way. No students, the end of packing came. Finally, the packing ended late at night, 12:50 a.m. The three friends were very tired and decided to sleep. Before they sleep, they had an argument about when to wake up in the morning. And in this way, they have completed the task finally at 12:50 a.m. And now they just wanted to sleep. And before sleeping, they had a heated argument that when to wake up in the morning. Now, students, finally, we have completed this beautiful story with the completion of the packing task by George, Harris, and Jerome. And this story ends on a positive note that they have finally completed the task. This is the big thing that they have completed the task of packing after so many facing so many problems, and they slept at late hours, 12:50 a.m. Now, students, it's time to discuss the theme of the story. So let's discuss the theme of the story. Dear students, packing is based on the theme that routine tasks are not as easy as they seem to be. The humorous account amuses the readers with the chaotic and confusing situations created by the clumsiness of the three friends, all of whom consider packing to be a child's play. Now, students, let us discuss the brief summary of the story. as you know, we have discussed that in this story there are three main characters, Jerome, Harris, and George, and they have a pet dog, Montmorency. So let us now discuss in a detail that how they come close together and how they play an important role in packing, and how they describe the task of packing. As Jerome, Harris, and George are ready to set out on a journey, they start packing for it. Being the narrator, Jerome describes how the packing experience went. We can see that Jerome is quite confident with his packing skill as he handles it all alone. While in reality, he wishes to simply supervise the packing session while making his friends to do the work under him. Dear students, now, however, they listen to him and let him handle it all by himself while they sit relaxed. This doesn't impress Jerome. Nonetheless, he gets to it. Now, when the Jerome was doing all the work all alone, both the friends are doing nothing. They are not helping Jerome in any way, and this doesn't impress Jerome. But nonetheless, he gets to it. Now, students, finally, after long packing sessions, he packs the bag up while his friends watch him quietly do all the work. Soon, Harris tells him about the shoes that he did not pack, and Jerome will have to reopen the bag to make space for them. Thus, after learning about the shoes, Jerome remembers his toothbrush, which he did not pack. Actually, packing is not an easy task. When he packs one thing, he left out another thing. In order to find it, he empties the hole just for one toothbrush. Alas, he finds it inside a boot and packs the bag again. Dear students, this is only for toothbrush that he has to reopen his bag once again, and then again pack it. And when he was searching for the toothbrush, he empties everything by shaking, and then after all he found the toothbrush inside the boot. And after that we see that one more query arises for the soap by George. Consequently, this irritates Jerome so much that he does not pay heed to it and packs the bag anyway. And now, students, the session of packing finally concludes at 10 o'clock, and with this, the writer get a little bit relief that he had packed the things finally. This packing session finally concludes at 10 o'clock. Dear students, when Jerome has started packing the things, so he just he was packing while he was not getting things. He first, when he has packed the bag, he forget to put the shoes inside the bag, and then again he has to open the bag, and when he again packed the bag, he forget to he forget to toothbrush in the bag, and then one by one he again thought that whether he had put the toothbrush inside the bag or not, and he again open it and empties all the bag, and by shaking each and everything he found the toothbrush inside the shoe, and again he was starting packing the bag. And at that time George asked him whether he had packed the soap or not, and this irritates him little bit, and but he ignores this and packs the bag once again. Dear students, so we see that after taking such a long time to pack, Jerome's other two friends pack the hampers themselves to show him how it's actually done. However, they are also similarly break many things, including a cup, into pieces. When when George and Harry started packing the things, so they created a situation more worse than Jerome. They are not doing things properly. Actually, they wanted to show Jerome that they know how to pack the things properly and in systematically way. Dear students, further they squash tomatoes and spread on butter while also smashing the pies. In addition, there is a salt flying here and there. And during this process, this after much course, they try to put things back in order. When they started packing the things, they just scattered everything on the floor. Salt was lying here and there, and they just smashed the butter, and they placed the things behind them and could not find after much time. And after some time, they put the things again in a proper order, but not as the Jerome did earlier. Dear students, however, it is not as successful as their pet dog. Montmorency worsens things. He sits on things meant to be packed and climbs into the jam as well as crushes lemons as if they were rats. But finally, final packing ends at around 12:50 in the night. Now both George and Harry tried their best to pack the things, and almost they have done their work. But to add fuel to the fire, Montmorency was making things, worse by creating problem for both of them. He sits on the things meant to be packed. Even he climbs on into the jam, put his legs into the jam, and even he crushes the lemons, considering that these are the rats. And finally, both George and Harris were able to pack the things at around 12:50, a.m. in the night. Now, students, after a tiring packing sessions, they decide the time to get up for the next morning, and George dozes off before engaging in these conversations. In the end, Jerome and Harris mark 6:30 as the wake up time and go off to sleep. And after they have packed everything, now they decided to wake up in the morning, and even on this, they started heated argument between each. Now, students, now let us find out some of the meaning of some new words. The first word is slaving, which means working hard. Another word is rampage, which means search for something by moving things around hurriedly and carelessly. The third word is scrap out, which means remove something from inside another thing using a sharp tool. Accomplish, which means finish successfully. Okay, so these are some of the words which we have discussed in the story. Fine, and you must note down these words in your notebook so that you can make use of them. Now, students, we have completed this beautiful story of packing, and now it's time to think about the text and find out and answer some of the questions based on the text. And it is very important that we go through the text and find out the answers, because it is the only way by which we can understand the text and see our own understanding. And now it's your part that you have to answer along with me some of the questions so that we can understand the text properly and in a better way. Now, students, let us answer the first question. Who has written the lesson Packing? This beautiful story Packing is taken from a novel, The Three Men on the Boat, and is written by Jerome K. Jerome. And when was he born? He was, we have already discussed this in the story, that he was born on 2nd of May 1859. And this is one of the beautiful story composed by Jerome K. Jerome. Now, as far as the question number third is concerned, name the three main characters of the story Packing. So, as you know, students, there are four main characters in the story. The first one is Jerome, who was the narrator of the story himself. The second one is George, and the third one is Harris. But along with this, they have also a pet dog called Montmorency, who also play an important role in the story by smashing things all around and putting his legs into the jam and creating mess both for George and Harris. Now, students, let us find out the answer of the question number 4. Which pet animal was there in the story? So, as you know, the pet which was there in the story was a dog. And another question was there in the story. What was the name of the pet animal? The name of the pet animal was Montmorency. Now, students, we have completed this beautiful story, and now I am giving you some work as a assessment. You must write down the role of Montmorency in a packing story, and what are the humorous elements in the story which make you laugh in the end. With this, I would like to thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks.